you'll send me the link. Someone wanted to go in to be part of the comment to
The
watch
link
from you.
yeah live.
Yeah, YouTube. Yeah,
Okay, let me
send
get
it
it
me on
right
WhatsApp.
now.
We are already live.
We live, man.
Episode number. Oh, we're at 51. Heaven's sake.
Yeah, last Saturday
Hmm.
we hit that we hit the 50th episode.
Hmm, hmm, hmm. Yeah,
Premier
yeah.
link.
Million, a million. So, wow, it's amazing what happens when you sort of flush the noise out of your head.
Yeah, man.
Hmm.
So yes, so today I'm in a different location, as you can see.
But the your internet is fantastic.
It's good, eh?
Perfect.
Perfect. And actually, initially, the last time I recorded from this location,
Yeah.
the internet was quite patchy. Actually, I think I had to hotspot from my
Hmm.
phone. Um, but this time round, it seemed like they've done some improvements. I was even doubting, but this was the best location that I could pick. There was actually an
Hmm.
earlier location that I wanted to go to, which it's a beautiful location. They actually have their own recording studio. They have a podcast studio.
Really?
Um, yeah, it's really nice. It's not very far from where I am, but I was there and then they told me there's already a birthday
Hmm.
booked. The place is booked, so it's not open to the public. It's like
Hmm.
a design studio. It's like a design. They call themselves an academy, design
Hmm.
academy,
Okay.
and it's a very well designed. I think next time I'm there, I'll definitely, you know, take some videos and put up on my social, because that's actually one of my dreams to eventually put up my own podcast studio. You know? So and these guys had promised that I can come in, record my YouTube one time.
Hmm.
I think they said the first recording it will be free, but then the
Hmm.
next ones they'll have to charge for, for the space, for the equipment. They've got, great
They're charging
cameras.
per hour.
Yeah, they're charging per the hour. So, and then they can even do everything for you. They do the recording for you, and then they can even do the whole production for you. So you get a finished product after that you can then
Oh.
share on all your. This is the future, man. This content game. I was listening to even another guy. I don't know if you know a comedian called Country Wayne. Have you heard of him?
Who?
Country Wayne.
No.
Okay.
He-
He is
He's from which country?
he's from America.
No.
This guy, and I'll probably maybe share. Let me go to the video of him. Uh, this guy does, those skits people do
Yeah.
on YouTube,
Yeah. Short skits.
short skits like
Hmm.
4 or 5 minutes long. He
All right.
does those, and he was being interviewed. I don't know if you saw the interview of Cat Williams that was on this
Yeah.
podcast
The one
called
that blew
Clutch.
up the internet.
The one that blew up the internet. Eh? That thing has hit, I think it has hit now over 50 million views. So the same podcaster
Hmm.
he calls himself Shannon Sharp, or rather
I know Shannon
the
Sharp. He used to work for ESPN, I think.
exactly. He used to
Hmm.
be a commentator, and I think before that his career was he was
He
an
was a
athlete. I think
football
he used
player,
to
American football player.
American football player.
Hmm.
So he invited. So after Cat William, he's now invited this guy. He calls himself Country Wayne. So this guy just does skits on YouTube. And he said this. He started initially with posting them on Facebook. So he
mm,
was being interviewed. Let me even share this. He was being interviewed,
mm,
and apparently, this guy in the last 3 years,
mm,
just playing the social game, the social media game,
mm.
he's been able to make over $20 million. 3 years
Wow.
doing skits. Let me share this. Doing skits, bro. Just skits. It's like our guy Jemo Yulem say.
Jemo Williams say,
Yeah?
his kids, are they with the multiple various actors or he's alone?
He has other actors.
Mm,
So this is a guy. He calls himself Country Wayne. So he's a comedian,
mm,
and he was talking of. So he gave his life story. So he
mm,
says he was born from a poor household. He
mm.
used to actually the family business used to be selling drugs,
Uh-huh.
and he says much of what he learned during that time when he was out in the streets
Mm,
is the same lessons he has applied now with his comedy career, where he's learned how to flip money and investing on no one else but himself. So of course he has incorporated other actors, but he's the main guy. All these skits are all hosted on his platform. He's the one who pays these guys, and apparently he records all this stuff from his phone.
wow. It's like this guy, a guy called Darman.
Damn, no, I don't know him.
Darman, his skits are based on not just human. They are not human based. They are more of life's lessons,
Mhm.
honesty, not taking people for granted. Yeah, and he's made quite some money from it. Just
Mhm.
sending you his picture. Maybe you've seen him.
Am I
He's
now that is
he,
you're saying about
because
what he
he's
does?
normally appear on Facebook. They used to appear on my Facebook timeline. So if
Mm,
you, I just sent you the picture a few moments
man, I
ago.
don't know the last time I was on Facebook, but
I'm
it's
normally there
interesting.
to. Most of the time it's Twitter, but uh, Facebook is just it has been part of my life for quite a while. But I rarely post there. I'm just there as a casual observer or anything of the sort. But Twitter is the real thing now.
Yeah,
Mm.
I actually want you to listen to this part. I think where he's being asked about, and he makes the comment that he realized apparently that Hollywood is
Mm.
in the is in the ad business. It's
Okay.
not in the movie business as it is. Movie is just the conduit through which they use
Mm.
to sell ads. And that brought to mind, Google, the tech behemoth that it is has
Mm.
literally built on ads.
Yeah, because ads have a larger audience. The ads run for a shorter time than a movie, but the audience is uh, wider because movies, you may find someone does not like action movies. This one likes horror. This one likes sci-fi. So the customer base is segmented. But an ad, say a toothpaste ad, everyone uses toothpaste.
Correct. And
Shoe polish.
sometimes also ads are based on the demographic that you're targeting on your niche market. So if we say maybe they're selling luxury cars,
Uh,
they'll have to pick sort of a broadcast or a podcast, or maybe when you're watching something like a James Bond,
uh,
because James Bond is all about those nice and fancy cars. So they know, number one, the people who apparently like watching James Bond are people that like certain luxury cars, your Aston Martin, your Ferraris, and the like. So they will make
and you don't
sure.
have to buy a ticket to go watch an ad.
You're not actually going to watch the ad. You're going to watch the movie, but by
Mm.
way of you watching the movie, they'll serve you that ad.
And also, as opposed to a movie, an ad can uh, appear in form of a pop-up.
Exactly.
It can pop up anywhere, and this is part. I think it's part of the user agreement when you are installing Google and whatnot. So the moment you've installed Google, you have agreed that you'll be getting these adverts. So the reach, as much as the duration of the presentation is shorter than that of a movie, the reach in one day, it's monumental because a movie will run once, like you'll watch it once over the weekend, that's it. But the ad can be played every day, 4 times a day. Imagine a pop-up that appears every 4 hours.
Yeah,
And how many
I mean, the lesson is, and he explains it here. What he realized is, where are the eyeballs? The
mm,
eyeballs are now in social media.
mm,
So if I stick with social media,
mm,
uh, using my skits, then I'll be able to attract advertisers that use
mm,
the likes of YouTube, that use the likes of Facebook, that use whatever platform that is using to advertise on Facebook and also advertise through uh, when somebody is watching his skits. So I think the key lesson out of this is, where is the money? The money is in ads. And where are the ads? The ads are in social media. So he realized that, where he's gonna sort of situate his business is on social media. He wouldn't go through the traditional way. He said, he realized, I could take the concept of TV shows, but I'll now break them down to your 4 5 minutes skits. But I'll not go to a TV channel. So it's not like he's gonna produce these skits and then go to like a KTN or a Citizen,
book for
or whatever
airtime.
networks, yes, or whatever networks they are in America, and then now try and get them to run his skits. And of course, if he was to do that, then they will probably tell him, okay, we'll give you an agreement, and he shares it. Actually, if you go watch this, it's got gems on gems on gems. This guy, is your kind of guy, is not educated, as in he's not your typical college educated type of guy, but you can see his business savviness in how he talks about. He
Street
was
smart.
able to
Street
see
smart.
street smart. He was able to see the niche and the opportunity on social media, and he monetized that shit.
It's like
And of course, learning from the big players in the market, who are the Hollywood platform and the TV schedule. So, like, you're sharing a story of where they offered him, I think, 6 million a year, but he said that is very small change. He's gonna make that and even much more while he's independent, because now with the 6 million, he's stuck with that,
it has some strings behind it.
and it has strings behind it. So, but him, he decided to go independent. So,
It's
I mean,
like
the lessons I drew on it is, one, bet on yourself. And he says, I bet on myself always. He also says, of course, learning how to take advantage of the social media platforms.
that thing
And
of betting on yourself. It reminds me of Floyd Mayweather. There are matches where he actually bet millions on himself. You put in millions of dollars on himself, he knows he's going to win. Confidence. And the part of being Sharif Mustafa Karibu Sana, I'm glad you got my heads up. So um, I there was this track. These tracks normally have some funny proverbs behind them. It was saying masomo sio shida, shida ni kugeuza hayo masomo yawe pesa. So this is something that someone in the how do I put it? Someone who is pursuing education, some youngling there, You ask them, you are pursuing a degree in what? What is the money conversion of this education you are pursuing? If you are pursuing arts, whatever, medicine, what is the money conversion aspect of this job? If that question is answered, then you know you are through. But most of the time they'll say, "Oh, the course is marketable," so you are looking for employment. So this guy, Mr. Country Wayne, I would say we can confidently claim that he actually beat the matrix,
He
because
did.
after Form 4, what is ringing in most people's heads is, this job, is it marketable? So which cause puts me at a best vantage position to be a slave, which makes me the most attractive slave to the plantation owner. And again, I like to quote this guy called Eddie Pinero: "You are better off being a buyer than a seller." This issue of selling yourself, selling comes with desperation. Buy me, buy me, buy me. But a buyer, you're like, you be part of me.
Mhm.
Mm. So let me just send you this information.
Yeah. And while you're doing that, let me play a few, few minute or two of this guy's
No problem, no problem.
speech, and then we'll come back. But I mean, you're spot on. This guy figured out how to, because I was looking at this. I don't know if you saw, there was a Hollywood artist. I think this lady called Taraji P. Hanson
Yeah,
was. I don't know if you
complaining
saw.
about the
She
money.
she was complaining about the money. Then I'm like, I looked up our net worth, and our net worth is about $12 million.
Mm,
Now that's still substantial amount of money.
mm,
This guy, with his probably 5 7 years in the business, his body of work cannot come even close. I mean, they are more or less in a different kind of. I mean, she's an actor. He's a more of a comedian, but they are all in the entertainment sector.
mm,
Him is said to be valued at $10 million, his net worth. Now, this is what I picked from Google. Now,
mm.
the information here is not necessarily accurate, but it's somewhat close, because I'm sure it's based on certain various data points
And
that they happen to
Taraji is worth
correlate.
how much?
12. And I'm
Taraji
like,
should be
Taraji,
Taraji should be by now. She should be upwards of 100 million, given
100%. Exactly.
because Taraji has been
100%. So,
acting when I was in campus. She individually played a baby boy together opposite Tyrese.
yes,
That
she's
was
been
in
in this game for
2004.
a while, bro.
So at the end of the day, she has been a slave to the system. There's
She's
no
been a
way
slave to the
the
system.
slave will allow you to be more prosperous than the master.
Exactly.
That's why there was a time I used to be very envious of people. So somebody working somewhere earning 600,000 shillings per month. Nowadays, I normally ask, who pays you that 600,000? And if you are earning 600,000, how much are you making for this guy for him to pay you that amount of money? Because chances are you are making much
Much
more.
more.
Yeah. When you hear
100%.
runners, these athletes that we praise, the Kipchoges and what they do one race and they earn, I don't know, 4 million or whatever millions of shillings they earn. Who is paying them? And what prevents them from having their own league of running, whereby that running spectacle becomes a show on its own? That when Kipchoge comes, or whoever, or Kipron, or whatever, whatever they go to run, is like a royalty. You now pay me to even feature there. You can be such a brand that for me to land in your airport, you pay me. For me to fly in your plane, you pay me to fly in your plane because I'm marketing you. But so far, they have just been limiting. Of course, they do get royalties from Nike, and I don't know. He's recently Robert SFDC, karibu sana. They get royalties from various promotions. But I think if you're at such a level, every commercial entity that is associated with you has to pay you, including the plane that you ride in. If it is, let's say, Lufthansa or British Airways, you pay me either in cash or in kind. I can have access to your aeroplane any day, anytime. If I'm to feature, if I'm to land in your country, your government has to pay me. Eliud Kipchoge landing in Dusseldorf. That Dusseldorf County or whatever, they have to recognize my presence and pay because you've worked hard to build your brand, to build your brand.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and that's the thing,
Don't limit yourself
watching
to the
this,
sport. Don't limit yourself to
watching,
the actual running. Limit
yeah,
you be the brand. It's like having Chris Brown landing in at Machakos County. Everything has to come to a standstill. Hey, Chris Brown is here. Motherfuckers, you poor puny peasants, stop what you are doing. The same way the former head of state, President Moi lands in town, everything stops. So if I have built my brand from money, that brand has to be an integral part of me. If I show up at Naivas, Naivas has to say, hey, Ujama mpe free shopping. The fact that this runner appeared in Naivas, that tells you, hey, yapana bwana, Ujama is marketing us. So you have to monetize every aspect of it to a point whereby you start living rent-free in people's houses. If you live in a certain estate, gated community, and they know that you live there, that gated community say, hey, listen, one of our residents is Andrew Mutua, 100-meter runner. So you have turned yourself into a money-making machine.
This is, I think, the key takeaway. That one on betting on no one but yourself. It's a key thing that this guy has shown. Because I was reflecting on his story and that one of that lady, Teraji Pianza, looking at her body of work and what she's been able to do, but still at the point of she's sort of still a victim, still begging, not knowing her worth.
Yeah.
Because if she was to go out there, man, she can do much more. And then the limit is only what it's only herself who can limit herself, not the Hollywood studios that then can dictate. He even mentioned this. He said, because he said he has financed his own movie. He financed his own first special that is on Netflix. If you go to Netflix, you see him. He has he financed that. He said with the movie that they did, he wants to pitch it to the studios in Hollywood. But he said, I know if I go there with my own money, they will definitely finance me. But if I go there begging for money, I'm either going to be their bitch or they can still deny me. But, he already has that chip. If they say no, he still goes 100% independent. He's already proven it. So I think let's play a little bit, get to hear about it before. but this is very instructive. Look at this.
Couple houses. Got a house in Bel Air, house in Atlanta, condo in
Bel Air.
Yeah. Yeah.
You ain't talking about. Right.
I'm gonna keep pouring money in social media, so I feel like social media was the future, whether people want to accept it or not.
Let me start it.
It's skits.
It's some skits, man. The story.
How much money you think you made through social media?
Like, through social media, probably a dub. Probably about just social media.
Mm-hmm.
Probably about 20 million last 3 years. That's when I really started monetizing. Mm-hmm.
Telling jokes, huh? And skits.
It's some skits, man. The storylines. I was telling jokes at first.
Need a partner?
It look like you doing fine. I tell you what, boy. Hey, you know about this money.
Yeah.
The social media game, it's the in-stream ads and stuff, but they didn't have that at first. So
right.
How I was monetizing at first is getting popular, you go on tour.
Right.
But I was like, that ain't monetization.
Right.
Because if I gotta do this, that's work. So I'm like, no, how can I learn, because what I did, I was hearing about residuals and all that, and what I did in math, the whole thing about math is to simplify something. That's what math is. You take 50 over 100 and break it all the way down to 1 over 2. So what I did, I took the TV format, people talk about residual in TV shows, and I you know what I'm saying? I took it to, I minimized it to a point of, I got my version of that.
Okay.
And now I'm able to make residuals. I'm making money right now while I'm sitting. And people was laughing at me at first. When I first started doing those skits, people like, oh, them little skits, And I went to before I started, I went to every social media who was big at the time and sat down with them. And I look, man, we gotta do this social media thing. We come together, we can share storylines, share content. They was all like, nah, they don't seem like, all right, you wanna keep going out here, tap dancing on tour? All right. So that social media thing, when I figured out that niche, man, I was on to it. And I seen it, so I ain't care what nobody said. I was doing all kinds of skits. I was an old man one time. I was a character named Drip. And I'm like, man, this money really on social media. Because that's where everybody eyeballs at.
Right.
So if I'm an advertiser,
right,
I'm going to keep pouring money into social media. So I feel like social media was the future, whether people want to accept it or not.
But you knew that.
I knew that. I knew that because I already realized, I paid attention and listened. And I realized Hollywood was always the ad business. It never was the movie business,
right?
A TV show business. They always say, let us pay our bills. So you got to, in an army,
commercial.
Yeah, in the army, they teach you to detail. Teamwork is the key. So wherever the eyeballs are at, that's where the money gonna be at.
Right.
So if I'm looking to my left and the right, people on their phone all day, it's like investing in the stock. I will be stupid to believe that people are watching this more than they watching this. So I'm like, these advertisers finna start pouring this money, and I'm gonna be a part of this new generation.
You got on the train early.
I got on early. And I caught the pandemic because we'll never sit down like that again.
No.
So I was like, man, we sit down, everybody wait to go back to work. I'm like, no.
And everybody wants to be entertained when there's no entertainment going on.
Man, I got all the kinks practicing. Okay, they like this, the algorithm like this like this, this like this, this like this, this like this. I say, bam. I say, man, listen, oh boy. I said, I'm gonna have me $1 billion by the time I'm 50. You know what I'm saying? I already seen it. It was just too many people watching social media.
Besides, obviously, you take care of your kids, you take care of your family.
Yeah, that's a guy, bro.
Well, it's like that difference between a lion that sits in a zoo and the lion that's in the wild. The lion that's in the zoo is these people are in Hollywood. They are assured, as Cat Williams says, there are 30,000 scripts every year in Hollywood. You are assured of getting something. That lion in a zoo, you are assured of getting meat every day. Every day there's going to be meat and you'll be entertaining people. But you are limited to that cage. Your full potential is limited. And you are there for the purpose of entertaining people. But a lion that operates in the wild, yes, there's no security, but you have an opportunity to conquer. Because in the wild, you either conquer or you die. You either stand out or you're somebody's bitch. So this guy took the route of the lion in the wilderness and he conquered and he's still going to conquer. So at the end of the day, it's all about you making that decision, specifically as a man. Taraji lady, I can't blame her because she's a lady. Ladies are tailor-made to follow instructions. So if Taraji was a man, I would really feel sad for her or him. But a lady, that is their nature, to bow down to the alphas. The alphas in Hollywood laid the law for her and she followed it. If he was a man, on the other hand, that would be a very sad story. And I'm glad that it is a man who decided to go the path of sort of carving out his own path. And now on the issue of Hollywood, can we touch on that expose by Cat Williams in terms of how men are ready to really stoop low to get where they are?
Yeah, go on.
There are talks of men offering blowjobs wearing dresses and doing all that kind of shit to sort of achieve.
When you mentioned the dresses thing, it hit me. And that's the same path our local comedians also have followed. Have you noticed that? I mean, think of Erica Mondis and all these other guys.
Nganudians.
The Ganudias, they have all adopted that process of wearing dresses.
It makes you think that is there some agenda being spread? I remember there's a video I showed. I gave you a link where Erica got into a fight at some studio, and what he did, he was wearing a dress with a bareback.
Yes.
And I found that to
Yes.
be quite cryptic because bareback means gay porn. So I tend to be very observant. Somebody can say anything, but the real message is in their actions. So when Erica Mondi did something that positioned his bare back to the camera, that told me that something is fucked up here. And
Because
what
these
is
are
it?
the sort of the subtle subconscious programming that is being pushed to the viewers. Because it's not overt, it's a very subtle way of pushing an image, pushing a certain, it could be a word or a phrase, but it's programming us subconsciously.
So are we? Does it mean that we are unable to what we call to postpone? What we call it? Take the longer route. We are not able to exercise delayed gratification. So that's what happened because delayed gratification means you take it slow. Like Steve Harvey is worth $200 million. Cat Williams is worth $2 million. But what the expose by Cat Williams has sort of shot is maybe his net worth is even significant, not actually 200 million, but right now Cat Williams can shoot his own movie or his own documentary and it will hit very hard. Delayed gratification because of following the tougher route. Taking
Yeah, I think it's a
wearing
combination of that, the delayed gratification and I guess the security that these positions offer. As we said, if you go the Hollywood approach, and Hollywood doesn't mean necessarily the US Hollywood. It could be anything. It could be an employer, it could be where you're guaranteed. And we know even some of our local content creators, because they are positioned in certain brands, when they are contracted to push those brands, they probably come with certain conditionalities. So if you want the quick money, definitely, that's the approach to take. It's just kind of, think of even Andrew Kibe. Probably Andrew Kibe doesn't have the worth that some of these content creators have. Probably some are much, much higher. But the approach that he's now taking, particularly now that he's got his own platform, of course, he had already now figured a better way to monetize, where he's relying more on his membership to monetize, not positioning a particular brand, not positioning a particular organization or company, but he's got his own membership and his own community. And I guess that's even better, because you even saw when YouTube shut down his channels, the guy he almost didn't starve. Yes, this was maybe a revenue channel that he had that now has dried up, but he still has his community that is able to move around with him regardless of wherever he goes. So if they change their own algorithm, come up with new policies, decide not to push certain messages, either because they have become woke and whatever, he's still able to now go on and rely on his membership, because he's got his Patreon. People are still pushing money through his M-Pesa or his whatever that other payment channel is from the US. So yes,
Cash App.
Cash App and all those. Yes. So Yeah, no, what you're saying, and I guess this is also in line with what Cat Williams and even Country Wayne are saying. That element of going independent, of course, it's a longer route. As you say, you've got to have that delayed gratification, because up until that point, you've built a brand strong enough to attract a big number of people. Up until that point where you have your own products, because if you think of an Andrew Kibe, he's got his merch, he's got his membership fees that he charges on Patreon, he's got the super chats he gets whenever he does his lives, he's got now the Year Africa that is going to bring in much more in a matter of 5 to 10 years from now. So it's just look at this. So these guys have a better chance. It's like now, if you look at that Raji Pearson approach, yes, it will guarantee you. But even at some point, they'll start realizing, you become an has-been in the business, and there are newer talent coming in. So they drop you like a hot potato, and now focus on the newer talent.
Well, see, at the end of the day, it's all about making a decision. And we are very much into the culture of quick bucks, quick buck culture. The moment you are into quick bucks, you become like, those Mali Mali people who go around selling cups and spoons, walking on the road. I'm yet to see any sort of rags to riches stories from them, because the business model is made based on making a quick buck, eating whatever is available, going back to the market. No long plan, no long term planning, no long term strategy, no nothing. And as I said again, that aspect of delaying the pleasure. And why is it that it's common with the blacks?
It's a good question.
It is only the black actors who have really popped up. I've
I
never
think,
heard of such a thing in
as you
Bollywood.
say, maybe it's coming out of also a culture of lack.
Or poverty,
You know,
poverty mentality. It's
yeah,
like
because
they normally say, if you try selling when you are hungry, you'll end up with scraps.
exactly.
They normally say, don't get into relationships when you are horny. You may end up banging anything.
Exactly.
So
That lack mentality, if you have an abundance mindset, then you're like, okay, I don't have to eat everything today. I still have, more for tomorrow and the day after and for the future. But when you're coming in with that poverty mindset, when you're like, hey, I better have it now or never, So yeah, I think that's what has bedeviled us a lot, and we ended up, you know, settling for scraps, while the cake is way bigger and there's a lot more to go around for everyone.
So that one will give it a shout out to Andrew Kibe, the man uh, who has managed to dig his way out of the matrix. I remember his days at NRG, moving from that, going into the jungle of a non-salaried individual and making to where you will call him the first matrix breaker, and that is a path we should follow. I normally say that uh, if you want to see the value of a man, look at how women treat him. If women like you a lot, women like what you say a lot, chances are you are screwing up. They should have a grudging respect towards you.
Mhm.
But adoring every word you say, chances are you are fucking up somewhere. I remember during my puniness, my days of puniness, I I went somewhere I was just walking the streets of Nairobi. Then I saw it was a boutique. Then I saw some dresses and shoes. Then I wanted to buy them for the woman I was in a relationship. So I was busy selecting a couple of dresses, shoes, and these ladies were praising me. Oh, we wish all men were like you in this country. And I was glowing with the pride. Oh, yes, this
We
is
can
how
know where you are. Where
came
are the
out to
whips? You need to get
from
some whips for you.
level 11 and whatnot. So I came to this realization that if you find women praising you a lot, you urgently need an audit. The entire stall was on me. "Hey, I wish my boyfriend was like this. Blah, blah, blah." And I walk out of there with thousands of shillings out of my M-Pesa account, bouncing on the streets, not knowing that, man, there are so many cringe moments out there, and the common denominator among them was women praising you. The one you find as a man, a lot of women praising you, you are shafting yourself thoroughly. So again, and these things are somehow interconnected. The aspect of delayed gratification, you want to be praised very quickly, you want people to know you very quickly, you do not want to bury yourself or go into this silo, this very dark place whereby no one knows you, this place whereby any efforts or any outcomes that are coming are barely noticeable. We don't want that. You want to do one step and get 1 million recognition points, as opposed to making a million steps with only 0.1% recognition. That's how things work. People spend time. There are people who have performed, somebody has performed for an audience of 2 or 3 people for 5 years, but they keep on going. Like what we are doing here. We normally have Sharif Mustafa, we have Robert SFD this year has joined us, we have Lut family. We normally play to an audience of 3, 4 people. If you are lucky, 5. But we keep pushing. Not because we appreciate them, but we do it for us. The outcomes, that major bust, is simply a byproduct of our grind. Yes, we may make adjustments to our strategy, but at the end of the day, we are doing this because we are men, we are built to grind. Those guys who are building the Mombasa Nairobi railway line, the old line, they are getting chewed up by lions every day. In this work culture, they would have disappeared. Ah, no, we can't do this. This is difficult. We can just go by. But they kept on pushing. The first flight in the world by Orville and Wilbur Wright, that flight lasted 12 seconds. 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. You've landed. By today's standards, a 12-second flight is, you not even gotten to the runway. You are just taxiing. It doesn't even matter. But that one set the stage for what we have here. So we are at a point whereby society is pushing us away from making. The society wants us to adopt the mindset of people recognizing you for every step. That's why you have things like participation trophies. Umemaliza number 15 out of 16, you want a participation trophy. How are you going to work hard to get to top 5? If you have a cabinet full of trophies for position 14, 15, 16, unavutanga mkia day in, day out, and somehow your cabinet is full of trophy, how are you going to get sharp? How are you going to sharpen your skills? Because a trophy cabinet is supposed to be a motivator or sort of a recognition of your achievements. But if you have a trophy cabinet, yet out of 15 participants, unachezenga hapa 14 na 15, and your cabinet is still. Imagine if English Premier Leagues, zile timu zinakuanga chini pia zinapata trophies. The level of competition will drop down. Say, we tuingie tunyambe nyambe huko ndani tu, will get a trophy too. So what is happening, especially in the realm of men, they are supporting us they are pushing an agenda for the man to be less sharp. be less innovative. Because if you look at between now and years before, they were making a lot of groundbreaking innovations. Nowadays, our level of innovations is centered around a certain, apps, vitu kadhaa hivi hapa na pale, and other government driven initiatives. But that grit, by my view, is not there so much, except in places like China, where everybody is building everything. So my take is recognize the matrix, reach into yourself, allow your mind to fly. Most of the time, you sit with someone and you talk to them about something, you're going to be put down. Like, there's a document I sent to Sharif Mustafa about some sort of forest fire prevention system. I shared that document with someone. They said it's impossible. So that brings us to the point where you also have to be very careful about the people you hang around with. If an eagle starts hanging around with chickens, it will see that flying is madness. You are better off just scratching your claws on the ground and eating worms and cereals, and then in December you end up getting slaughtered. So for chickens, an eagle is a weird character. Why is this thing flying in the air? They normally say those who cannot hear music consider dancers to be mad people. So at the end of the day, open your mind. Understand that you are surrounded by the matrix in every aspect. And the matrix, I consider matrix as anything that tries to tamper with your way of thinking. Somebody is trying to cancel you because you gave. Yes, the point may not be necessarily correct. It should give grounds for argue. Maybe you have a fault there, your argument is flawed on this aspect. So we can have a discussion on that, as opposed to being shut down completely. Being like what happened to Andrew, getting his channel being put off, being kicked out, instead of someone sending him a transcript. This point has a problem, giving what you call having a chance to have a tribunal of some sorts, whereby you air your points, they give back. It comes like a discourse, as opposed to shutting down. It's like we don't want to hear that. Chances are, it's like we normally say that whoever gives sheep the mentality of a leopard becomes an enemy of the shepherd. If someone can make sheep to have the thought process of a leopard, the shepherd will say, "Hey, huyu jamaa anarevusha hawa wanyama bwana. We don't want him here." So what Andrew Kibe was trying to do was sort of make the sheep to be more open-minded, more to think on their own terms, and he messed up with the shepherd. The shepherd being YouTube, and what is so very sad is that the shepherd was based in Kenya. It's some lady, I don't know her name. She has a very funny, I don't know the name, but it's a very ugly sounding name. So it's a name that a woman should have abused. See, women names and men names are different. Women names sound sweet: Vanessa, Angela, Chantel, Shamsa. But when you hear, I think she's called Alelo or Alilo, and I was like, what fucking name is this, man? So it is somebody working part of our continent that is also shafting us. It's a major disadvantage, but then again, we sort of have to keep pushing. Sharif Mustafa is normally works with, is it Shamsa or who? Whatever. Beautiful names. This lady has a very weird, ugly name. I hope I don't get cancer because of making making fun of her. But
I
then
mean,
again,
I think just to focus on the gist of the discussion is I mean, I guess we are all talking about the idea of going independent and ensuring that you're not putting yourself in a point where you get to compromise your own principles or values because when you're chasing the money and when you're desperate for it, can almost bend over backwards for that paper. So um, how do you ensure that you know you're not putting yourself in that kind of a situation? And I guess the idea of going independent um, makes more sense. Maybe for a period you might have to be employment. I mean, people have to make certain pragmatic decisions at certain points of their lives. Um, but all in all, never compromise on your values. I mean, that doesn't mean you can't get employment where you're still providing value to your employer and to a marketplace, because in a sense you're also employed. Even when you're independent or as an entrepreneur, you're working for a client, you're working for someone who has contracted you. It's just that you don't have the kind of an arrangement where you have a monthly salary, despite whether you're working or not, you're more or less earning something. But this one, the deliverables have to be clear and seen for you to get paid. But all in all, whatever engagement that you have to be in has to be one that is, does not compromise on your values and principles.
Yeah, I call it the cost of value addition. Yes, you're adding value while you're under contract, but what is it costing you? And how long can you sustain that cost? And this other side, you are doing solo. Yes, you're adding value, but the cost on your soul is you have the chance, you have the capacity to adjust how much it is costing your soul. There are clients you can tell, no, can't do this. But when you're in a company, somebody from sales or procurement department makes a decision that we have to do this. You are a part of the machinery, you have to do it. Like you have to deal with a customer who's abusive. Uh, Top brass are in bed with the customer. You have no option but to go there and bend over and do all sorts of weird stuff. So it's all about making decision. How much of my value is being eroded? Because it is eroded to some extent, especially when you are under contract. But now, when you are solo, you have the right to maintain your frame and say, I can't do this. Move on to the next deal. You're not going to do this. So it's all about saying, which frame community am I in? There are people whose frame disappeared. When somebody decides to wear a dress, you are frameless. The moment Eric Omondi started appearing in dresses, he lost it. You cannot say you are operating on a masculinity frame and you're wearing a dress. Even right now, something as elementary as carrying a handbag for your partner, that should be a no. Where handbag chini bwana? What are you doing with the handbag? And with our ladies, it's all about the way a rat behaves. It bites you, then it blows some air on the wound to calm you down. So
Yeah,
unajaribiwa pole, start with handbag. Next, niangalie kama marago imeungua. Next, nimechoka
no, it's
nipatie.
it's called the
Yes.
bettertization by a
Mm,
thousand concession, becoming a bitter man. But
mm,
it has happened, as you say, in a very slow
mm.
process, like a frog in hot water.
What
Before
water?
they realize they are being, cooked,
Slowly.
it
So,
has been slow,
mm,
almost painless kind of a process. But the
mm,
position you find yourself at the end of that will
mm.
be a very sorry state.
So 5 years down the line, you are carrying your handbags. Yes, in the what we call in the confines of that relationship, that loving relationship, you are now become a handbag carrier, cook in the kitchen, pot scrubber, toilet cleaner, and all manner of weird stuff in the name of maintaining that relationship where they say happy wife, happy life, happy what? There's some weird shit they like saying, happy wife, happy life, or whatever. So these are the things that are indicator of the matrix. They start slowly, harmlessly. Next utaambiwa, let us pose together. Like this guy, his partner was wearing a suit and he was wearing a wedding dress. Some
Yeah, I
motherfucker.
saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that. It
So
was on. Was it on Twitter or something?
yeah, so it probably began with Karimo for me this handbag. Please, I'm tired, nisugulie usufuria ndo nianze kupika. Sijui nioshe hicho. Niletee kijiko. Kaniletee pampers or niletee pads. So you are slowly reined in, pole pole, pole pole, pole pole. I don't think if this guy 10 years ago told him to wear a wedding dress, would have said no. But he has
That's
been
true.
slowly grilled. Pole pole, pole pole. Now he is posing on a multi-million platform in a wedding dress. And the woman is wearing a suit. Sasa, let's say this is a wedding night. Who will bang the other? Ama undergo pegging. You know, pegging where a woman wears an artificial thing, you get into position and unasalimiwa na salamu za kutoka nyuma. Another weird bedroom shit. So these are the things that others, it looks funny, looks like it, but if you look at it with a keen eye, with a masculine eye, it tells you this means your frame it is eroded slowly to a point where you are frameless. And as a frame looks like, a frame is like a boundary. Ni kama picture frame. Siwa ndio ile picha isi swing out of focus. So that's the masculinity frame. Now you, not only are you out of frame, you are flameless. Next utasikia something.
No backbone to stand on.
No backbone, no nothing. Next utasikia sanitary pads for men or whatever weird stuff popping out of wherever it is they are coming from. So it is very important that we
It's
have
already gotten to that level, but it's I guess it's still not yet in Kenya, but yeah.
So it's important that you have a very keen eye as a man, be cognizant of the threats to your masculinity, because given the amount of money that is being splashed around to push this agenda, that tells you how valuable masculinity is. The millions of dollars that are being pumped into some of these agendas, if it was kama ingekuwa ni pesa ndogo tungesema but these are millions of dollars. That tells you the value of masculinity is beyond quadrillions. This is now linked to national stability. It's an extremely valuable entity. Otherwise, the campaigns will not be like this. Otherwise, the millions of dollars will not be flowing in with ease. One of the venture capitalist organizations I tried to reach out to, they said they are willing to give money, but you have to be members of LGBTQ.
Oh, really?
So
You got that condition?
So I go there with zero bike, alafu niweke zero bike kando, alafu nishikilie kitanda, hold the bed, nipanue mguu. Is that what you are trying to tell me? So that tells you this frame, in any position you are, even you are in a lower ranking bodaboda rider, you are a welder or mtu tu wa kuuza juice barabarani, that masculine frame that is being fought of is what is beyond gold. Others, the campaign will not be like this. So hata wanasema Waswahili, mti wenye matunda ndio upurwa zaidi. We will not be under so much attack if we are a bunch of valueless characters. But the fact that there's a concerted effort against masculinity is gold.
It is.
Consider yourself lucky that you are born a man. This is the best gift that God ever. The fact that you are born a man. That's why even we now have even in developed countries, there are children being given some funny hormone suppressing pills.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's get into that.
That is suppressing.
State.
Yes, it's suppressing the testosterone. What does it tell you? You are fighting off a very powerful beast, and we have to be open. That aspect of being cognizant, that aspect of being alert should be there in you. Be watchful for even the tiniest bits of messages that seem off. We had TD Jakes here. he showed there's a video where he was standing somewhere and somebody dressed as a police officer shaking his hips like some stripper, and the bishop just standing there. That is an attack of
Yeah.
masculinity. Is that how a man should be dancing? I'm not really much into dancing or whatnot, but even if you have to go to the disco, will you go there shaking your hips and twerking and acting like some honey bitch somewhere, hungry for coke? No. So these signals are there, they are screaming at us, and it's up to you to decide who you are going to align yourself with. And they come with a lot of money. They come with project funding. They come with support. It is dressed up in so many. That's why I normally say that the road to hell is paved with so many beautiful intentions. The road to hell is tarmacked with street lights. There are no bumps. It's paved. It's aina pothole hata moja. You can push at 200 kilometers per hour so that you land in hell fast. That's the road we are looking at. So it will be, you'd rather be sick physically than miss out on the capacity to capture these signals. Ensure that your antenna, your internal antenna, is finely tuned to pick up these signals and avoid them. If you see a place where, or a premise where funny symbolism is brought out, like right now, whenever I see something that has a rainbow color, I have to question it. Hey, boss, hizi rangi zenu, what's going on? You ask. It's not that you are putting them off. You ask, kunaendelea nini? If the answers are not making sense, jump off. You don't know what you are finding. If somebody's, I've seen a guy, I just decided to play safe and avoid dealing with them. We are having some discussion. Then I noticed some guy, he seems to have spent a lot of extra time on making his face smooth. It was like,
Oh, I saw that.
you look weird.
Part of that bettertization by 1,000 concession. Oh yes. So anyway, I think we've had quite a very engaging conversation.
1 hour,
Looking
2
at the
minutes.
content again.
And unreact shit.
Yeah, man.
Mm.
Yeah.
You
Looking
can
at the
give
content
appreciation to
creation
our
again.
to our
Please give a shout out to all our
to number one, Sharif Mustafa, the ever-present Lone Wolf, Robert SF. Maybe I'll be saying Robert SFDC like Robert SFDC. Yeah, that's the way Andrew Kibe says it. We had I saw Luther family here.
little family
He's
was
been he did some good work in advising me on when I was doing second iteration of the bike. He gave me some good advice. I really
nice
appreciate that.
stuff.
So tunasema asante sana. And unless you have something to say, can I say adios?
Yeah, and next time give us an update on Zero Bike where you guys at. I know the prototype is, if I'm not mistaken, almost complete.
Yeah, we are
have been
almost
here.
there. We're almost there. We have been in what you call silo mode. We are underground, moving back and forth. We are like ducks. You know, a duck, you see it floating, but a lot of action is happening underneath. We are doing a lot of
Underneath,
paddling,
yeah.
but things are happening. And sooner or later, I don't want to commit a date at the moment, but there's activity going on, and something will pop up. As I told you, we have a different name altogether, and
Oh yes. There's a rebranding effort that went in.
yes,
You
rebranding,
guys had to
showing that
pivot one way
new
or the
team,
other. So yes, but
new
that's part of the
iteration.
journey. The journey might have been. You still more or less get to the destination because you
Yes,
know the destination.
yes,
But there, as they say, a million ways to skin a cat.
yes.
And I guess this is how do
One of
you
the
how do you
ways.
become more agile and versatile to respond
Yes.
to whatever is being presented to you and to effectively get to your destination. So yeah, looking forward to that update. Much appreciation to everyone who came on to the live. Thank you guys. We'll see you on the next one. Keep
Adios.
it FFS.